All right, Bell Tire getting ready to kick off here. 15 minutes on the clock. Going up against the Burlington Barracudas. Burlington Barracudas. On the ice, it looks like we got Orlick, Hewer, Agway, and Caitlin and Mackenzie Flanagan. Barracudas with the puck. Bell Tire getting around in neutral. Dump down deep into the Bell Tire zone. It's going to be chased down by Caitlin. Caitlin sending it up the wall into the corner. And up to the point it goes for Barracudas. Tipped wide by Hewer. Chased down by Mackenzie. Mackenzie over to Caitlin. Caitlin going up ice. Finding Hewer. Hewer catching an edge. Sending it neutral and chipped ahead. Orlick now. Orlick at neutral. And the puck now retreated back by the Barracudas into their own zone. Up the wall, gaining the Bell Tire zone momentarily. Caitlin chips it back out to neutral. Sent rink wide by the Barracudas. Up the wall, collected in by Caitlin Flanagan again. And now the Barracudas have it deep in the Bell Tire zone. Centering pass is turned aside by Flanagan and sent up the half wall. Picked up by Markovich. Markovich now gaining neutral, chipping it in. Chase down. Dobbs out there. Kazarowski. And Martin. And it looks like Morton on deep. Barracudas at neutral. Chased by Martin. Martin going hard into the wall. Picked ahead by Markovich. Sent deep into the Barracuda zone. Sorry about the camera angle. Trying my best here to keep it on a swivel here for you. Barracuda is coming up through neutral, gaining the zone. Past Morton, chased down by Clemens, and a shot is going to make this game 1-0 Barracudas. And that puck is down. Dropped back, it looks like to Bowman on ice. It's chipped ahead, and the Barracudas regaining the Bell Tire zone. Chipped ahead by Bowman. Picked up by Palucci. Palucci circling her own net. Chipping it up ahead to Cruciano. Back into the Bell Tire zone. And sent on ice by Day. Barracudas now in their own zone, chipping it up, breakout pass through neutral. Gaining the zone, chased down by Markovich and Day. Turned aside, and back down into the corner. Centering pass knocked out by Bell Tire. Barracudas recover at the point. Day in the corner. Centering pass, picked up by Markovich. Markovich chipping it up the ice. Intercepted by the Barracudas, sent back down deep. Bowman behind her own net. 12:16 on the clock. Carlson sending it ahead and intercepted in neutral by the Barracudas. Barracudas back in the Bell Tire zone. Off the post. And the net's going to come off on Bell Tire. On ice, we're going to have Orlick, Hewer, Agbe out there with the Flanagans on D. 12:02 on the clock. Hewer to take the draw in the Bell Tire zone. Puck is down. Barracudas with a quick chip shot. Turned aside, I believe, Grund in net. And into the corner. Sent up ice. Collected by the Barracudas at the point. Picked up by Hewer. Sent ahead. That is going to be off the wall and a icing call on Bell Tire. All right, Hewer on the draw. Puck is down, sent around by Flanagan up to Agbe. Agbe trying to chip it out of the zone. Caitlin collecting it at the half wall. Barracuda's intercepting. Walking across, sent a shot on net, turned wide. Mackenzie and Caitlin, I'm sorry, that is Caitlin battling behind the Bell Tire net, chipping it to the corner. Barracuda's up to their point. Goes wide, it's going to go the length of the ice, and Bell Tire's going to get a change. On ice, Kazarowski in with Clemens, Dobbs, Martin, and Morton. Sent ahead by Morton into neutral. Barracudas regain possession. Back and forth, picked up by Clemens. Clemens chipping it ahead. Barracudas intercepting the pass. And that puck staying in neutral. Barracudas gain the zone, trying to send it across off the skate of Clemens. This is defended by, turned aside by Grung. In net for Bell Tire. Barracudas with a quick shot, intercepted by Morton. Morton skating up into neutral, trying to find some room. Turned back in by the Barracudas, chased down by Kazarowski. Over to Martin. Martin in the corner. Off the wall. Martin going ahead, finding Hewer. Hewer chipping it into the Barracuda zone. Bell Tire goes for a change. On ice, Orlick, Agbe, Hewer, Martin, and Bowman. Martin gets a stick on him. That shot goes wide of the net. Barracudas tip it back up to their point, sending it back to the half wall. Good puck movement, and this puck's going to go to the half wall, defended by Agbe. Hewer stepping in to help. Sent on net, wide, up the half wall, picked up by the Barracudas, sent back down deep. 9:43 on the clock, and Hewer chasing that down. Now Agbe with a little bit of room, trying to chip it ahead to Orlick. Orlick gaining possession, dumping it in, going for a change. Bowman on ice with Day, Palucci, Markovic, and Cruciano. That puck in neutral, sent in on net. Turned aside by Grun, picked up by Bowman. Bowman going to D. Day up the half wall, finding Cruciano. Cruciano chipping it ahead. Now Markovic, Palucci got a 2-on-1. Shot is going to go over top of the net and come around, picked up by the Barracudas, going through neutral, defended by Day, picked up by Mackenzie. Mackenzie going up ice, sending it ahead, trying to find Palucci. Going to miss her stick, but no icing. Barracudas behind their own net, chased down by Palucci. Barracudas coming through their zone, gaining neutral. And defended by Caitlin Flanagan. Caitlin chipping it ahead. The puck's intercepted by the Barracudas, chased by Carlson. Barracudas coming through neutral, gaining the zone, dropping back to their point. Shot is deflected. Picked up, sent ahead. And a breakout to Clemens. Drop to Clemens. Clemens sending it ahead. Behind the net is Carlson. Behind the Barracuda net. That's going to be chipped back to the Bell Tire point. Picked up by Martin. Martin across. Looking for Caitlin. Caitlin's shot is going to be covered up by the Barracuda's goalie to freeze play with 8 minutes remaining in the first period. 1-0 Barracudas. Puck is down. Clemens to chase behind the Barracuda net. Morton stepping up on the half wall, keeping it deep. Morton and Martin on D. Clemens in with Hewer. Clemens sending it up ice behind the Barracuda's net. Barracuda is retreating. Hewer chasing. Sending it back the opposite way. Makes its way out. This is going to be picked up by Morton. Morton in the Bell Tire zone. Sends it ahead to Orlick. Orlick dropping to Martin. Martin sending it back to Orlick. Orlick in neutral. Chipping it ahead. Looking for a chase by Hewer. Orlick behind the net in the corner. Up the half wall. And sent ahead. Barracuda's gaining the zone. Barracuda's going across, missing the pass. And chipped ahead to Carlson. Orlick. Orlick going to Agbe. Agbe in the slot. Agbe's shot goes wide of the net. Agbe back to Orlick. Orlick, corner, dropping it up, finding Day. Day shot, chip, goes over the net. Dobbs to chase. Dobbs sending it around, finding Orlick, on the backside of the net. Barracuda's up for neutral. Dobbs on the chase. Day in the corner behind her own net. Day coming out with it, going up the half wall, finding Markovich. Markovich out to neutral, picked up by Barracudas. Barracudas gaining the zone, shot gloved by Grund, and a quick whistle is going to freeze play, and we will have a draw in the Bell Tire zone. That puck is down. Clemens out front, picked up by Flanagan and sent down. It's going to be waved off for icing. Bell Tire's going to chase here. Cruciano, Palucci, Clemens, Caitlin and McKenzie on D, picked up by Palucci in neutral. Palucci looking for some room. Cleared by the Barracudas. They're neutral. Barracudas gaining the Bell Tire zone. Stepped up by McKenzie. Clemens chipping it ahead, going for a change as Bell Tire's offense. Up the half wall by the Barracudas, going rink wide. And defended here by Caitlin Flanagan. Puck deep, poke check by Grund, getting that puck out. Cruciano picking it up. Cruciano out there, and this is going to be sent rink wide. Picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs trying to get it deep. Blocked by the Barracudas. Barracudas in their own zone. Going through neutral. Mishandled pass picked up by Carlson. Carlson chipped it ahead. Martin in on the rush here as Bell Tire is going for an offensive line change. Chased down, and Hewer loses an edge behind the net. Barracudas make their breakout up through neutral. Sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Morton going to pick this up. Going off the back wall, finding Martin. Martin going up, looking for Orlick. Now Hewer. Hewer chipping it up ahead. Getting through. No icing. It's going to be chased down by Orlick. Sent around by the Barracudas. Barracudas making a breakout. Collected in here by Martin. Martin chipping it up ahead, finding Hewer. And this puck in neutral. Orlick sending it rink wide. Barracudas intercepting that pass. Coming down. This is going to be defended by Martin. Shot blocked by Martin. Goes wide of the net. Picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs off the half wall. Barracuda stepping back in. Defended by Dobbs. Down into the corner. Chased now by Martin. Pass across. Intercepted by Agbe. Up to Dobbs. Dobbs chipping around. Tripped up on the play as she tried to go around the Barracuda defenseman. Barracudas gain the Bell Tire zone. Circling. Shot in. Run with the initial stop. Dropped out front, and a rebound shot is going to make this 2-0 Barracudas. 3 minutes, 33 seconds on the clock. On ice as we restart here is going to be the Flanagans, Markovic, Kazarowski, and Palucci. Palucci to take the draw. Puck is down. Barracuda's in their own zone. Chased by Kazarowski. Gains the zone. Down behind the Bell Tire net. Barracuda's pick it up, looking for a centering pass. And maybe that net came off. Yeah, the net came off on that play, so we're going to have play stoppage in the Bell Tire zone. 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. It's going to be Palucci on the draw here in the Bell Tire zone. Puck is down. Picked up by McKenzie, sending it around, finding Kazarowski on the half wall. Now Caitlin back in her own corner, sending it around to Palucci, chipping it ahead to Markovic. Markovic in a battle on the half wall, sent back deep by Barracudas, picked up by McKenzie. Now Caitlin sending it back the other way. A puck in the Bell Tire zone down in the corner. Battle ensuing. Flanagan in with Palucci, trying to pick the puck free. And Caitlin comes out with it, sends it ahead for McKenzie. McKenzie going up ice. That is going to be an icing here on Bell Tire. On ice is going to be Morton, Clemens, Cruciano, and Cruciano. Cruciano to take the draw. Puck is down. Barracudas dropping to their point. Sending it up the slot. Stepped up. Martin disrupting the pass. Picked up by Cruciano. Cruciano turning up ice. Cruciano gaining the zone. Backhand and centering pass. Nobody home. Sent up by the Barracudas. Out to neutral. Stepped up. Martin to chase. And gloved by Grun. And it's going to end up dropping out of Grun and going into the back of the net. That'll be 3-0 Barracudas. 2:06 remaining here in this first period of play. Hewer, Orlick, Agbe, Bowman, and Morton on Day. Day with the puck in her own zone, chipping around the half wall, finding Orlick. Orlick trying to find Hewer. Day with the backhand, keeping it up, and that puck finally makes its way out. Agbe making a run at it. Sent rink wide by the Barracudas. They retreat in their own zone, chased by Hewer. Sent ahead, picked up by Kazarowski. Kazarowski, shot, going to go over the net, picked up by Orlick. Orlick, quick shot, goes wide. Picked up by Barracudas in their own zone. Barracudas going rink wide, intercepted by Day. Day with a quick move around, gaining the Barracudas zone as the puck rolled off the end of her stick. Sent ahead by the Barracudas, up through neutral. Defended by Bowman. Barracuda circling. Shot. Blocked by Grun. Net is off. That'll freeze play with 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining here in this first period. This draw is going to be outside the Bell Tire zone, taken by Dobbs. Out there with Kazarowski, Markovic, and the Flanagans. Caitlin off the boards, chipping it ahead, trying to find a breakout for Bell Tire. Sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Mackenzie Flanagan sending it around, looking for Kazarowski. Kazarowski at the half wall, chipping it ahead, out of the Bell Tire zone, picked up by the Barracudas. Rink wide, back the other way. A lot of skaters on the ice for the Barracudas. Barracudas circling, sending in backhand, blocked by Grun. 30 seconds remaining in this period. Agbe on the wall, with help from Hewer. And the net is off again. All right, so we're going to have a draw here with 25 seconds remaining in this period. Hewer. Puck's down. Picked up. Sent across to Agbe. Agbe cutting back. Going through neutral. Picked up by Barracudas. And offsides is going to be the call. The puck got hung up and Agbe as she entered the zone. So we're going to have a face-off just outside the zone. Taken by Hewer. Dumped deep into the Barracuda zone. Picked up by the Barracudas as they go through neutral. Send it in on net. That's going to be covered up by Grund with 5 seconds remaining here in this period. Hewer, Agbe, Martin, Morton, I believe. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Grabbed ahead. Out of the zone. And that's going to be the end of the first period of play. I believe we are going to have... Yes, we're going to have an ice cut. So we'll be back in 10 minutes for the second period. All right, we're back after the ice, but Bell Tire back on the ice. Agate out with Hewer, Orley, McKenzie, and Caitlin. Caitlin with the puck in neutral. Looking cross ice, strips it up, intercepted in neutral by the Barracudas. Gaining the zone, sending it across. Shot on net, turned aside by Grum. Flanagan chipping it behind, looking for McKenzie. Hewer now, behind her own net, going ahead to Caitlin. Caitlin flipping up ice, going to the half wall, out to neutral. Barracudas regain possession in neutral, defended by McKenzie. Barracudas behind the nets, and a wraparound attempt is thwarted by Run. Bell Tire line change. Martin and Morton coming on with Dobbs, Kazarowski, Markovich. Dobbs on the draw. Barracudas back to their point. Shot in, wide of the net. Barracudas half wall of Bell Tire zone. Chipped back in. On the wall, chipped ahead. That puck's going to make it down to the Barracuda zone. Chased by Markovich. Kazarowski off the half wall. Breakout pass, disrupted by Dobbs. Barracudas regaining possession, sending it up ahead. Barracudas gain the zone. Chased down by Morton. Turned aside by Grum. Barracudas up the wall. And up the point. Barracudas shot in. Deflected in front of the net. Picked up. Chipped ahead. Possession by Morton. Going across. Finding Markovich, who dumps it deep. Goes for a change. Puck out front. Picked up by the Barracudas. Chased down by Cruciano. Chipped ahead. This is going to be chased down in the Bell Tire zone by Martin. And a late whistle. Refs here are seemingly waiting until the girls get to the puck before they blow the icing call. 13:11 on the clock. Line change for Bell Tire. Cruciano, Clemens. Cruciano, McKenzie, and Caitlin Flanagan out on for Bell Tire. Barracudas with the puck going through their own slot, sticking it ahead. Barracudas get a tip on it and get it into the Bell Tire zone. Chased by Cruciano. Cruciano gets a stick on it. That centering pass goes wide. And the Barracudas hit it off the half. Cruciano in the battle. Barracudas now getting possession. That's chipped ahead by Caitlin out of the zone. Sent back in. Chased down by McKenzie. McKenzie. Rink wide, looking for Cruciano. This is her stick, goes ahead. Icing wave. Bellucci on ice, trying to get a chip on it, loses her footing. Barracudas make their exit. Carlson battling by herself here, now picked up by Bellucci. Bellucci in the slot, drop. Glove by Barracudas goalie. Bell Tire looking to claw back out of the deficit here. On ice, Agbe, Hewer, Day, Bowman, and Orland. Agbe out front. Agbe with a stick on it, sending it back. Finding Bowman up top. Off her stick. Barracudas gain possession on the pass. Dropping it back. That's going to exit the zone. That's going to be skated over by Hewer. Picked up by Day momentarily. Barracudas now regaining the zone. Barracudas in. Centering pass. They're going to make it 4-0. Barracudas. All right, when Bell Tire gets back going, Agbe out with Hewer. Martin. And Orlick. Martin going up, finding Agbe off her stick. Martin chasing it down. Battling in the corner. back. D to D by Barracudas. Barracudas hitting the brakes. Shooting it in. Martin coming through, picking that puck up out of the crease with possession, kicking it ahead. Tripped on the play. No call. And sent ahead by Agbe into the Barracuda zone. Barracudas gain possession behind their own net. Coming up ice. Coming through neutral. That's going to be tripped up. No call. And Barracudas retreat back into their own zone. This is going to be chased by Carlson. Picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs. Down in the corner. Dobbs. Centering pass. Up the side of the net. Battle right in front of the net. Lucci in the mix. And we're going to freeze play with 10:48 on the clock. Bell Tire's D-line going for a change. Caitlin McKenzie in on with Carlson, Dobbs, Bellucci. Puck is down. Picked out by Bellucci, sent to the corner. Carlson battling. Bellucci stepping in. Puck behind the Barracuda's net, up to their half wall. Breakout pass into neutral. This is defended by Flanagan. Picked up on the half wall by the Barracudas. Circled around by Bellucci. Beltire breaking out. Cruciano now, one-on-one. Cruciano. Shot's going to go wide of the net. Picked up by Bellucci. Bellucci sending it back down deep. Going to roll the width of the ice. Hit a weird spot on the board and pop out. Picked up by the Barracudas. Off the half wall. Chipped back in by Markovic. Barracudas sending it behind their own net. Chased down by Kazarowski. Stepped up. Day keeping it in. Not sure that was kept in, but we're going to go with it. Pass disrupted by Kazarowski. And the puck making its way, just directly below us, now back into the Barracuda zone. Barracuda sending it around. And Beltire jumping over the boards on that change. Picked up by the Barracuda's goalie behind her own net. Not sure what this call is. We do have a whistle. This has been an offsides call. We're going to have a draw just outside the Barracuda zone with 9:28 on the clock. That puck won back by Beltire down to Day. Day shipping it ahead to Cruciano, who gets it into the Barracuda zone. Barracuda's behind their own net. Puck is out front, and Barracuda's able to gain possession up through neutral. This is defended by Bowman. In the slot, Barracuda's Clemens getting a stick on it. Barracuda sending it around, lining up the half wall. Chipping it back in deep. Up top, Barracuda's shot, turned aside by Grun, sent to the corner. Barracuda's walking out. Shot from the dot, wide of the net. Picked up at the point. Sent down the half wall. And cleared by Beltire. It's going to roll the length of the ice. Beltire's going to get a line change here. Bowman and Martin on D. Agbe in with Dobbs and Orlick. Martin defending here. Martin behind the net. Gets your stick on it. Orlick stepping in, helping. Dobbs picking up the loose puck. Chipping it ahead to Orlick. Orlick in neutral. Now picked up by Martin. Martin going up to Agbe. Agbe one-time pass. Looking for Dobbs. Martin able to turn that offensive rush up ice into neutral. Chipping it ahead, looking for Dobbs. Bowman with a skate, gets it up, and it's going to clear the zone. That's going to go to the end of the ice. Icing wave, picked up by the Barracuda goalie, and sent ahead through neutral. And be defended by Martin. Barracudas go rink wide with it. Now down at the half wall. Smothered by Beltire. Barracudas coming into the slot. Shot is gloved and frozen by Grunt. All right, Beltire on a draw in their own zone. Cruciano back to Martin. Martin to Morton. Morton up to for the shot. And we were looking at Palucci now. Palucci from the dot. Shot. It's going to go over top of the net. And it's going to be picked up as Martin went for a change. Shot in by Caitlin. Going to be frozen by the Barracuda's goalie. 7 minutes, 16 seconds remaining in the second period of play. All right, Beltire on the draw here in the Barracuda zone, taken by Hewer, tied up with the dot. Hewer with the skate on it. Almost in a battle with the ref. Agbe out there with Hewer, Orlick, and Flanagan. Caitlin sending it deep, chased down by Agbe. Off that weird spot on the wall, goes out front. Picked up by Hewer. Hewer shot in, goes wide of the net. Picked up by Flanagan on the half wall. Agbe dropped back to take over the position for Flanagan. Good move. And the Barracuda is coming out of the zone here. Chased down by Agbe. Flanagan in on a battle at the half wall. Stand aside by Barracuda. Orlick dropping down. Rebound shot. Wide of the net. And covered up by Grunt. 6:28 on the clock. Martin back in on ice with Morton, Dobbs, Markovich, Kazarowski. Dobbs on the draw. One back. Barracudas down to their point. Chipping it into the slot. Shot goes wide of the net. Picked up by Dobbs. Now Martin behind their own net. Shifting it back the other way. Looking for Morton. Morton in the corner. Morton going up the wall. Finding Kazarowski. Kazarowski keeps it moving down ice. Touched by Barracudas in a foot race with Markovich. Markovich down into the corner. Kazarowski in. Markovich now out front. Markovich is unable to get the shot off. Looks like she was hooked on the play. And that is going to stop play. I think that was hit by a Beltire player. And we're going to have a draw in the Barracuda zone with 5 minutes and 57 seconds remaining on the period. On ice, Cruciano, Clemens, Day, Bowman. Up behind the Barracuda net. Sent ahead, picked up by Cruciano behind the Barracuda net. And now out through the neutral. Up ahead, defended by Bowman. Chipped ahead by, I believe that was Day. Sent back in by the Barracuda. Chased down by Day. Day chipping it up ahead to the half wall. Day back behind her own net. Going around to Bowman. Bowman going up the half wall. Clemens in neutral. Dumping it in. Beltire to chase. We're going for a line change here. 5 minutes, 14 seconds remaining in the second period. Flanagan's back out. Palucci with the steal there in the slot. Palucci down in the corner. Palucci walking out with the puck. Getting a shot off over top of the net. Picked up by McKenzie. McKenzie's shot is going to be picked up here by Hewer. Hewer in on shot. Goes wide of the net. Deflected out front. Palucci sending it back in. Flanagan sending it back in. Chipped in by Carlson, wide of the net. I'll pick up in the corner. Sent back to Caitlin. Caitlin at the point. Held in by McKenzie. McKenzie's shot gets deflected into the corner. Chased by Carlson. Palucci down in the battle with Carlson. We were waiting patiently. Off the half wall by the Barracudas, and then picked up by Caitlin, sent back down deep. Now picked up by Palucci. Palucci going up top to McKenzie. McKenzie trying to get it back in, deflected by the Barracudas, out to neutral. Right below us, Agbe in this battle. And Barracudas going wide. Now Agbe. Agbe going up through center. Picked up by Dobbs and sent ahead. Orlick. Orlick with the puck, sending it across, trying to find Agbe, wide of the net. Martin and Morton back in on D. Beltire applying pressure. Orlick behind the net. Orlick, the corner, and picked up by the Barracudas. Held in by Martin. Martin up to Dobbs. Martin back in. looking for, and Barracudas are just going to ice this. As Bell Tire put a tremendous amount of pressure on for the last minute and a half with 3:27 remaining in the period. All right, as Bell Tire starts back up, we've got Kazarowski out with Cruciano, Markovic, Martin. Cruciano on the draw, chipped back to Martin dumping it deep. Picked up by Barracudas in the corner. Cleared ahead, Morton holding the blue line here. Dumped back in, behind the net goes Barracudas. Barracudas hitting it out, icing wave. Morton chasing, Morton chipping it around, tripped up on the play. No call. Shot back in by the Barracudas. Stick lift by Martin to block the the tip. Barracudas back up at their point. Shot in. It's going to get tipped out front, and that is going to make it 5-0. Bell Tire gets back underway. We're going to have Dobbs out with Agbe. Orlick, Day, and Bowman. Day with the puck. Half wall. Orlick trying to get it cleared up. Barracudas dump to their point. Going D to D. Barracudas shot in. Deflected wide. Picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs off the glass. Looking for a wide open Orlick. Sent back in by the Barracudas. Slowed down by Run. Going up. Agbe. Agbe pass out to Dobbs. Upper stick wide. And that puck's going to go deep into the Barracuda zone. Center out front. Turned aside. Barracudas going rink wide. Barracudas shot over the glass. Sent down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Picked up by Day as they rim it around. Barracudas send it back in deep. Barracudas on the half wall. Barracudas now walking out into the slot. Picked up, sent ahead. That's going to be wide of the net. And we'll have an icing. Minute and 29 remaining here in this period. Draw is going to be in the Bell Tire zone. Puck is down, rimmed around, looking for Agbe. Agbe chipping it out, trying to find Dobbs. Barracuda sit it back in. McKenzie sending it around. Orlick on the wall. Kicking it ahead, comes clear of the zone. Sent back in by the Barracudas. Barracuda's shot is blocked by Agbe up into the netting. Free play. Bell Tire resumes. Stewart will take this draw. And that puck is down. Picked up by Caitlin Flanagan. Caitlin stepping around off the boards, looking for Clemens. Icing wave. Cruciano in the chase. Down into the corner. Cruciano taken to the ice. Barracudas pick it up. Come up to the neutral. Barracudas gaining the zone. Dropping pass. Going down to the corner. Back behind the Bell Tire net. Viewers picking that up behind their own net. Chipping it out to Clemens. Clemens looking to get a pass out to Cruciano. Miss. Picked up by Flanagan. McKenzie gains his own. Shot goes wide of the net. Cruciano is taken down to the ice. Barracudas pick that puck up behind their own net. Chipping it ahead. Icing is the call. icing with 8.6 seconds remaining here in the second period of play. On ice is going to be Carlson, Bellucci, Cruciano, Morton, and Martin. Cruciano on the draw. Puck is down. Barracudas sending it up the wall. Gets passed, and it's going to go the length for an icing. As time expires, we will go into the third here. Barracuda's up 5-0. All right, as we get going back here, in this third period, Flanagan's out with Agbe, Hewer, Orlick. 15 minutes. Puck is down. Picked up by Caitlin. Caitlin sending it deep into the Bell Tire zone. Chased down by the Barracudas. Sent around the wall. Pinched in by McKenzie. Orlick chasing behind the Barracuda net. Barracudas breaking out. And that pullback shot is going to be deflected into the netting to freeze play. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Barracudas with possession. Down the half wall. Behind the net. Picked up by Agbe. Agbe's pass intercepted up top. Shot in. Blocked by Caitlin. Barracudas sending it across in the slot. Picked up by Agbe. Now Hewer. Hewer into neutral. Sending it ahead. Going for a change. Bell Tire's line change is going to bring out Morton. Kazarowski. Dobbs. Markovic. Markovic intercepting a pass as Kazarowski hadn't quite made it back out of the zone. So this will be a draw just outside of the Barracuda zone. Dobbs on the draw. Dobbs going back to Martin. Martin going across to Morton. Morton sending it in. Wide of the net. Picked up by Barracudas in their own corner. Chased down by Dobbs. Markovic behind the net. Barracudas breaking out. Kazarowski chasing. Barracudas into neutral. Dobbs getting her stick on it. And Markovic trying to chip it ahead. Off a skate. Picked up by Kazarowski. Sending it in on net. Going for a change. That goes wide. Barracudas pick it up in their own zone. This is going to be defended by Martin, and Cruciano comes in to disrupt the play. Cruciano off the wall in neutral. And he picked up by Cruciano. Cruciano deep into the Barracuda zone. Down to the corner, centering pass. This is the target, and picked up by Barracudas. This is going to come back the other way, defended by Martin. Martin hiding it down into the corner. Now picked up by Clemens. Clemens going cross ice, looking for Cruciano. Barracuda sending it back deep behind the Bell Tire net. Chased by Martin. Martin going back the opposite way, looking for Morton. Morton half wall. Cruciano. Cruciano. That makes its way up to Clemens. Clemens in neutral. Clemens tripped up on the play and picked up by the Barracudas. Barracudas going cross ice. Carlson there to disrupt the play with Hewer. And now Bowman. Sent back. Morton in their corner. Going up ahead to Clemens. Sent ahead by Hewer. Icing wave down into the Barracuda zone. 12-12 on the clock. Picked up by Carlson. Carlson now circling. Pass down to Palucci. Palucci off the post. And picks it up behind the Barracuda net. Hewer in the corner. Palucci trying to pick it free. Palucci with the puck. Palucci on the half wall. Dropping it back for Hewer. Trying to pick it free on this battle. And the puck makes its way out to the Barracuda behind their own net, sending it up the opposite way. Pinched by Bowman. Puck comes out and is picked up by the Barracudas in neutral. Barracudas retreating, getting a line change. Barracudas send it deep into the Bell Tire zone. That goes behind the Bell Tire net. Bowman sending it around to Day. Day up to Carlson. Carlson shipping it out. The Barracudas will pick it up in neutral. Day sending it around. Agbe. Agbe. No look pass up to Palucci. Palucci dropping it to Dobbs. Palucci now off the glass. That's going to make its way out of play. And we will have a draw just outside the Bell Tire zone. 10 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in the period. Dobbs on the draw. Barracuda's in neutral. D to D. They send it in. Can be chased down by Caitlin. Caitlin behind her net. Chipping it ahead. Looking for Agbe. Agbe passing out to Dobbs. Dobbs shipping ahead. Picked up by Barracudas in neutral. Dobbs going for a change. Play disrupted by Agbe. Agbe throwing ahead to Orlick. Orlick dumping it into the Barracuda zone. Picked up by Cruciano in the corner. And a battle at the half wall in the Barracuda zone. Barracudas come out with it. Barracudas behind their own net. Coming ahead. Breakout pass by Barracudas. Dumping it deep into the Bell Tire zone. This is going to be chased down by Caitlin. Caitlin Flanagan going up ahead. Finding Cruciano. Cruciano maintaining possession through neutral. Kazarowski down with Cruciano. Cruciano is hit hard from behind. And that is going to be the first penalty of the game to put Bell Tire up on a power play with 9 minutes, 54 seconds remaining in the game. So on ice, we are going to have Palucci, Hewer, Agbe, Caitlin, and Martin to start this Bell Tire power play. Hewer on the draw. Picked up by Agbe. Dropped down to Flanagan. Caitlin. Over to Hewer. Picked up by Barracudas. Blocked by Hewer. Hewer dropping it behind. Back behind the Barracuda net. Chased down by Palucci. Agbe chipping it out to Hewer. Hewer. Pinned in the corner. Chipped out by Palucci. Palucci's going to go cross ice to Martin. Martin walking in. Martin shot. Going to be chipped down in front of the net. Picked up by Palucci. Palucci dropping it back to Martin. Martin going cross ice to Hewer. Hewer to Flanagan. Flanagan puck sent ahead and is going to be chased down and picked up by Flanagan behind her own net. Going up ahead. That pass disrupted by the Barracudas and picked up here by the Barracudas in neutral. Barracudas are going to send it to length. This is going to be chased down by Flanagan. Flanagan going up ice. Flanagan going rink wide. Finding Markovich. Markovich Over to McKenzie. Hey, sorry, just below us. This is not a great angle. That puck going deep. It's going to be picked up by Martin. Martin going rink wide. Looking for Dobbs. Dobbs off the wall. Finding Kazarowski. Kazarowski. Centering pass. Nobody there. Markovic. And picked up in the slot by the Barracudas. Barracudas going up ice. Chipped in. Defensive change. Out with McKenzie is Morton. McKenzie sliding it up. Intercepted by the Barracudas. 16 seconds remaining on the Bell Tire power play. The Barracudas behind the Bell Tire net. Morton battling with Dobbs. Down in the corner. 7:57 remaining. 2 seconds on the clock. Barracudas back to even strength. Barracudas behind the Bell Tire net. Chased down by Markovic in the corner. Kicked ahead by the Barracudas. Picked up behind their Bell Tire net. Shot gonna go wide. And we're gonna freeze play at 7:37. Puck is down. Picked out by Day. Day out there with Bowman, Orlick, Agbe, and Hewer. Agbe ahead to Hewer. Picked up by Barracudas. Barracudas, center ice. Barracudas gaining the zone. Barracudas deep into the Bell Tire zone. Picked up, sent up the wall. Dropped back in behind the Bell Tire net. Chased down by Bowman. Bowman up to Orlick. Orlick looking for a breakout to Hewer. Barracudas intercepted. Barracudas shot from the point, or from the dot, is blocked and chipped back in the half wall. This is picked up by Bowman off the wall, looking for Day. Day going back to Bowman. Bowman collecting, going back to Day. Day looking up ice. Trying to find Orlick in stride. Misses her stick. Icing wave. Bell Tire on a change. Sent up ahead. Chased down by Caitlin. Picked up by Clemens. Clemens behind her own net. Going back the other way. Intercepted by Barracudas. Barracudas walking in. Picked up by Martin. Martin going over to Caitlin. Caitlin going up, looking for Cruciano on the half wall. Cruciano able to get it up to Cruciano. Cruciano to Clemens. Clemens gains the Barracuda zone. Clemens shot is going to be covered up by the Barracuda's goalie. Freeze play with 5 minutes, 54 seconds remaining in the game. Cruciano on the draw here, out with Clemens, Cruciano, Caitlin Flanagan, and Martin. Martin pinching. Clemens coming up with the puck in neutral, going across to Flanagan. Caitlin Flanagan trying to get it up to Martin. Martin chipping it ahead. And picked up by the Barracudas in neutral. Barracudas circling. Stepped up by Martin. Puck goes wide of the net. Barracudas at the half wall, circling back into the corner. Martin stepping in with Caitlin. Caitlin up to the point, intercepted by the Barracudas, sent into the slot. Barracudas passing behind the Bell Tire net, picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan off the wall, finding Martin. Martin going rink wide, and that pass is deflected, picked back up by Martin in her own zone. She's going to send it around the wall, looking for Orlick. Orlick at the half wall, picked up by Hewer, chipped out of the zone and into neutral. Sent ahead, and now picked up by Mackenzie Flanagan. Mackenzie being pestered by the Barracudas. Barracudas get it up into neutral, chipped by Orlick to Hewer. Hewer and Orlick now gaining the zone, shot in, wide of the net. And that puck's going to go roll and be picked up by the Barracudas on an offside. Four minutes, 22 seconds remaining here. Agbe out with Palucci and just joking. It's going to be Dobbs out there with Carlson, Palucci, Flanagan, and Morton. Puck's going to be sent the length, and that'll be an icing on Barracudas with 4:17 on the clock. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down at the dot, picked up by Carlson. Barracudas behind their own net, chased by Carlson. Up the wall, Barracudas keep it moving. Barracudas catch that in the Bell Tire zone. Tipping it back, intercepted by McKenzie. McKenzie sending it off the wall, ended up out front. That is going to be 6-0. 3 minutes, 58 seconds remaining in this game. Hewer out with Orlick, Agbe, Bowman, and Morton. Sorry, Day. Day on the defense here. Stopping that puck at the Bell Tire door, and that's going to drop into the Bell Tire bench. Hewer on the draw. 3:50 on the clock. Puck is down. Day chipping it ahead to Agbe. Agbe, and it's chipped back ahead. Cross to Bowman. Bowman going up to Hewer. Hewer gaining the Barracuda zone. Drop pass to Orlick. Orlick walking in, taking a shot. Turned aside by the goalie. Sent ahead by the Barracudas. Barracudas breaking out to neutral. Barracudas being sent aside. Centering pass picked up by Agbe. Chipped ahead to Orlick. Orlick going into the Barracuda zone as Bell Tire goes for a line change. Day trying to keep it in on the point, and that is rolled out for an offsides on Bell Tire. All right, for Bell Tire is Caitlin Flanagan, Martin, Markovich, Cruciano, and Kazarowski. Into the corner, deflected by Kazarowski, picked up by the Barracudas, chipped ahead. Cruciano keeping it in. Barracudas picking up the pass, going off the wall. Caitlin Flanagan chipping it ahead off the skate of Barracuda player, and Cruciano picks it up, going rink wide, passing it to herself off the boards. Battling through. Bell Tire, Barracuda's able to regain possession. Misfire by Barracudas behind their own net is blocked. And Cruciano down there battling to get that puck back out. Markovich throwing her weight around, looking for Caitlin up at the point. Caitlin offsides. Freezing play is going to be a draw just outside of the Barracuda zone with 2:22 remaining in the period. Dobbs on the draw. And that puck sent around by the Barracudas. Going up ice, gaining the zone, dumping it in, chased by Morton. Looks like it's going to be an offsides call. So this will come just outside